Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Welcome back, everyone. It is Saturday. Time flies when the world is in a state of chaos and war. No ceasefire yesterday. But Zelensky is going to the White House Monday. The chatter out there all across internet land is all focused on Putin and Trump yesterday. Who had the upper hand? Who won? Who lost? Was Trump played? Where does Ukraine fit into all of this? We'll talk a little bit about that tonight. I think John out in Alberta may call in. He is sort of immersed right in the middle of some demonstrations, some festivals, all kinds of stuff going on in Calgary tonight. So he may join us very shortly to give us the lay of the land out there in that part of Western Canada. And I'm seeing also that there is a U.S. politician who has taken an additional step trying to pave the way for the integration of Western Canada into the United States, possibly as a 51st state. So we may touch on that as well this evening. So let's see where things end up with all of that tonight. I am just checking over here to see if we're actually running, and we are. Everything seems to be okay. And we will... All right, I'm going to click on some of this over here and some of that over there to make everything work. And I will see you right after this, and we will begin to dig into today's top news stories.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, I'm back, and I'm just checking some technical stuff to make sure we're up and running as we're supposed to be. Up. Everything's looking good. Okay, hello, Kitty. Hello, Lindy. Hello, Paul. Hello, Norfa. I saw some trucking videos, Norfa, over the last day. Some accidents that looked pretty nasty online. So I was thinking of you, actually, just because of your recent previous calls talking about trucking, and also with Bridget, because she had been talking about truck safety with me as well. So stay safe out there on the roads, highways and byways. It's dangerous out there. First up tonight, Zelensky is going to the White House Monday. So this, of course, is the result of yesterday's meeting between Trump and Putin. So Zelensky's going to travel to Washington, D.C. He'll meet with Trump at the White House. The visit follows this high-profile U.S.-Russia summit in Alaska yesterday, where President Trump and Vladimir Putin discussed the ongoing war. At least we're told that's what they were talking about, the ongoing war in Ukraine, but they did not reach an agreement on a ceasefire. Zelensky described a recent phone call with President Trump as long and substantive, lasting over an hour and a half, with European leaders joining for part of that discussion. And Zelensky has expressed gratitude for the invitation and says the Monday meeting will focus on ending the killing and the war in Ukraine. He emphasized today that the importance of European involvement is key in any peace process, stating that reliable security guarantees for Ukraine must include both Europe and the United States. President Trump, on a Truth Social post, confirmed the meeting, stating that the goal is to pursue a comprehensive peace agreement rather than a temporary ceasefire. I thought we might just do a little bit of a social media scroll. And we'll start with this Truth Social account of Donald Trump, the President of the United States. Let's go there now. And then we're going to show you some other stuff, social media-wise tonight, just so we can get a broader perspective. What is this here? Posted 5 hours ago by Trump. Wasn't aware of this one. Okay, let's bring it up and let it roll. I don't know.
I believe we had a very productive meeting. There were many, many points that we agreed on, most of them, I would say. We really made some great progress today. I'm going to start making a few phone calls and tell them what happened. But we had an extremely productive meeting and many points were agreed to. I would like to thank President Putin and his entire team. We're going to stop thousands of people a week from being killed, and President Putin wants to see that as much as I do. So, again, Mr. President, I'd like to thank you very much, and we'll speak to you very soon and probably see you again very soon.
Skeptical. New York Post. More safe than I ever felt, it says here. Let's go to that New York Post. It is no longer there. What is the story that they're running? It's not the one that Trump was trying to send us to. There's an ad for some stuff from China. DC woman goes viral after sharing she feels, oh no, I guess it is that. It feels more safe than ever in Capitol after Trump's law. I see. So it's a story about bringing the National Guard in. A DC resident has gone viral after saying she feels more safe than ever following President Trump's crackdown on crime in the nation's capital. Finally able to chill at a red light with my windows down. Not worried about if one of them youngin, as is coming, beam a TikTok user Big DeWalexy said in the video before sighing contentedly. Let's watch. DC police detain a person August 14th after President Trump's announcement of the federal takeover of the Metropolitan Police Department. Oh, they're arresting another guy. What's that? Where's her video? I want to see her video. I want to see this video from this lady. Maybe there's a click up here. Here it is. We'll go. There we go. I think I've got it. All right. I have to switch the tab. Let's see what the New York Post is making all the hullabaloo about. This is going to be a pro-Trump thing for sure because it's on Truth Social on his account. Here we go.
To chill at a red light with my window down, not worried. Finally able to chill at a red light with my window down, not worried about if one of them young niggas is coming. Ride through the city, feeling more safe than I ever felt. I really just be trolling. But no funny. It has been quiet as shit, like for 2 days. That's good. I don't need to be taking nobody loved ones and babies and all that other bullshit. I need to be doing all that.
Okay. I guess that's what happens when you send in the National Guard and you just arrest all the poor people. I don't know. It's just, what is this for you? Pro-Ukraine rally in Alaska against Trump Putin Summit. I don't know if this is, I think this is maybe from yesterday, but let's let some of this run. I have to go back to this tab. I believe, no, is that it? No, here it is. No, yeah, here it is. Yeah, okay. I have to switch tabs again. Bear with me, folks. I'm clicking as fast as I can. And I'd say that Putin definitely had the upper hand, came away with the most yesterday. And honestly, I've looked at a bunch of the coverage, both during and post summit coverage. And I have to say that what Mike Pekarik had to say on here last night was probably the most balanced of any of the commentary, and just as informed as anything I've seen anywhere. So I have to really thank him for joining us on the program last night, because there was a lot of value in what he brought to his commentary with us last night. I thought it was, in hindsight, just superb. Yeah, I have seen a lot of reports, both prior to, during, and now after, about pro-Ukrainian rallies in Alaska, which is a very red state, red meaning Republican and pro-MAGA, as you can see. And I did tune into, at least a half a dozen different reports out of Alaska with journalists talking about exactly these demonstrations, pro-Ukrainian demonstrations in Alaska. Maybe we should get Alaska to join Canada. Now, why do I say, and this is analysis and opinion on my side, why do I say that Putin got the most out of yesterday's meeting? Because he was on U.S. soil, even after, during his stay there, he went on kind of a tour. I'm going to show you in a moment why it was important and the messaging that it really sent back to Russia. Okay. Let me show you. So here it is here. I've got it. I have to do some more clicking. Un momento, por favor. Here we go. So check this out. So here's Putin at this gravesite in Alaska, which has been maintained by the United States, but it is for fallen Soviet pilots from World War II. And while he was there, he laid flowers on the graves. And of course, these images,
Thank you very much
going back to
for taking such great
Russia.
care and for preserving the memory of our valorous warriors.
Absolutely, President Putin. It's our honor to care for all veterans here, and especially for the 14 Russian citizens interred here.
Да, спасибо большое, господин президент.
So that was him thanking the people who take care of the grave sites. And they do appear to be pristine. Not only that, though, let me see if I can find the footage. He also came and presented some gifts to the guy's image he was in the shot there. He's an Orthodox church leader. See if I can find it. Yeah, I think it's actually one of the most important things that he did there. I had the clip, but it's gone missing. Give me just a moment here while I cue it up. It is kind of important, so I would like to share it with you. Stay with me. I'll be right back.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, I have it. Here it is. So this is Vladimir Putin meeting with Archbishop Alexei of Alaska of the Orthodox Church in America in Anchorage, and he greeted the Archbishop on behalf of the Patriarch of Moscow, Kirill, and gifted His Eminence with an icon of St. Herman of Alaska. Now, I mentioned yesterday in our discussion with Mike, as we were trying to analyze what was going on, that during the news conference, Putin began his speech, post-meeting speech, highlighting past cooperation and alliances with the United States through history. I think it's actually extremely important because I think it represents or illustrates, I think, the shift or the pivot that is happening, allowing more of the convergence that I have been talking about, in particular, the convergence between Russia, the United States, and more specifically, MAGA in the United States with Russia. This also part of that, because this convergence is all dependent It's all being pushed forward by this the elements that they share within this ideology of a new kind of conservatism. No, I would say populism, converging the left and the right together, rejecting liberalism, embracing traditional values, which the Russian Orthodox Church embraces. And that's why this meeting is important, because it's happening in Alaska. It is highlighting linkages, ties between the United States, Canada, the historic roots that Russia has in Alaska, not only culturally, but also through religion, which is culture.
Good afternoon, Vladika. Once again.
Хочу передать вам самые наилучшие пожелания от святейшего патриарха Московской Руси Алексия.
I would like to give you the best greetings from His Holiness Patriarch of Moscow alone of Russia, Kirill.
Мы с ним встречались перед моей поездкой сюда.
I met him before my trip here.
Он мне сам рассказал о том, как здесь зарождалась православная церковь.
He personally told me how the Russian Orthodox Church was established here.
Рассказал о том, что он здесь тоже бывал, был на службе.
He told me he'd been to Alaska and he assisted at the divine service.
С большой теплотой очень отзывался обо всем.
And he spoke with great warmth about his recollections.
Вам самые наилучшие пожелания.
And he asked me to give you his best greetings.
И я хотел бы на память вам вручить некоторые подарки.
And I would like to present you some small gifts as a token.
Герман Аляскинский.
This is Saint Herman of Alaska.
И он, насколько я понимаю, является покровителем с точки зрения православной церкви, является покровителем Америки.
And as far as I understand, he is the patron saint of America in the Orthodox tradition.
Yes. Что вам всего самого доброго. Спасибо.
So I would like to wish you all the best.
Thank you so very much.
Благодарю вас.
That moment more significant than you might realize. I think than probably anybody realizes. It's significant enough that, and some people cluing in enough to know that that is something that's important to broadcast back in Russia. And that is another big win for Putin, because his administration, his government really has the Russian Orthodox Church woven into the tapestry of the administration, of the government, because the Russian Orthodox Church is attached to the state. There isn't really a division, no separation of church and state there. Russian Orthodox Church is part of the state. That's why you get these accusations of Ukraine attacking freedom of religion, because Ukraine has gone in and they have shut down, where they have taken actions against some churches inside Ukraine, Russian Orthodox churches, and the people running those churches, because of their strong ties to Russia, because it is a state-sanctioned church. Some of them have been accused of, and I think have been engaged in, spying and activities that have been directed or have been anti-Ukrainian. Long story. I didn't really expect to talk about that tonight, but it's tied to that, what you just witnessed. More than that, you're also seeing, it was about 3 months ago, that Dugin said that within about 6 months, you will see the United States and Russia become more closely aligned. But he said it's going to take time. And that the thing standing in the way is the conflict in Ukraine, which is why yesterday I was looking at it really from a different perspective than almost all. I don't think any other Western commentators or pundits were getting some of this right. I think most of them are still looking at it through from a wrong perspective, because they're not taking that into consideration. They're still looking at it as it's something transactional that Donald Trump is trying to achieve. And I don't think Trump has even fully clued into why they're becoming more aligned, but it's because of what I'm talking about. This philosophy, ideology that MAGA shares with Russia, which is traditional values, the kinds of values that the Russian Orthodox Church embraces, which is woven into the anti-liberal government and administration over in Russia. Enough of this. Point is, you look ahead 3 months from now, we'll look back on this day and we'll see if there has been any more movement in that direction, because it is significant. It's important. And I'm not sure where this really leaves Ukraine. As I said to Mike yesterday, Mike Becerra, I don't think people are looking at what's going on in Alaska correctly, because Putin and Trump are not really adversaries. They're on the same side. What they're doing is they're like carving up the world. When Trump was talking about land swaps, we don't know what happened in that meeting, but I'm pretty sure they were talking about navigation through the Arctic, access to those waterways, talking about what's going to happen in Europe in the coming months and years. Ukraine, a pivotal part of that. What's going to happen to Canada in the months and years ahead as well. What's going to happen to Alaska. And so, yeah, they are competitors, but I don't think Trump really wants to look at Russia as an adversary or an enemy. For him, it's business. For Putin, it's about carving up the world, as we've talked about on this program. And there are political activist groups, political organizations, even in the United States, pushing toward that very thing. Let me see here. Now, that being said, and speaking of all of that, let me see if I can find this letter from this U.S. politician who is advocating for, maybe I've lost it again. Well, I'll find it again in due course. I'll bring it back around. It doesn't have to happen right now. Hang on, I'm going to take a break, reconfigure all these tabs. Hang on.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on Earth.
The entire world is watching.
Every dictator, every crazy dictator in the world is watching. The world is watching. On TV.
The entire world is watching.
On social media.
But the entire world is watching, and yes, they are seeing what we have apparently bravely been willing to say that others are thinking.
Stand for freedom. Literally stand for freedom. Let's get this done. The entire world is watching.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
Maverick News. Maverick News. Maverick News.
Let me have more control of my own destiny.
The world is watching.
So if you don't think the United States, you know what, let me just pull back from that. Before we get into that, let's stay on the Trump-Putin thing first. I want to show you. I thought we would also just take a look at RT and the Kyiv Post to get two different perspectives on yesterday's meeting between Trump and Putin. So here, first up, Kyiv Post. Europe welcomes Trump's talks, but calls for ironclad security guarantees for Ukraine. And you can see Russian politician calls for Zelensky's arrest if he rejects summit agreements. And we don't have summit agreements of any kind. Kyiv protesters to Trump, don't trade land, bring our people home. We talked here about the kidnapped children. That's what they are talking about there. Not getting even a mention over here in the West or in Russia, I can pretty much guarantee. Watch two Russian soldiers in one shot. Ukraine's Ghost sniper unit scores longest kill at 4,000 meters. And then they have a story about the Ukrainian story about the Russian perspective on the Trump-Putin meeting. And Russian propaganda reports on secret Western plot to replace Zelensky. That was interesting. There was also a thing with Colonel McGregor on the Mario Knopfel X account. Maybe we'll find that clip. Speaking of propaganda, Russian propaganda reports a secret Western plot. Reports in the Russian media led by Tacit that the triumvirate of Andriy Yermak, head of the presidential office, chief of military intelligence, Kirilo Budanov, and Valery Zulazny, I don't know who that is, former commander-in-chief and now ambassador to Britain, have been plotting with the U.S. and U.K. to replace Volodymyr Zelensky with Zelensky as president of Ukraine. They supposedly held a secret meeting recently in a holiday resort somewhere in the Alps. The Russian media claims Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service reported on the meeting, saying the Americans and the British announced a decision to propose Zelensky for the Ukrainian presidency. Yermak and Budanov snapped a salute, blah, 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 blah. So they're saying that this is a conspiracy. And this, according to the SVR, and that was the underlying cause of the recent scandalous attempt by Kyiv's president to restrict the powers of local anti-corruption mechanisms. This was in reference to the prolonged legal attempts to limit. Yeah, we talked about this a little bit with Mike last night, but this is a new layer to the story, basically saying that those protests about the changes to the anti-corruption efforts in Ukraine are connected to somehow this alleged, or this story that they're saying is propaganda about the United States and Russia plotting together to overthrow or replace Zelensky as leader. And of all the propaganda that's out there, I have to say that one might even actually hold the most water and be the most believable. But this just shows again, you do not know what the heck to believe anymore. Let's go over to RT and see how they are responding to yesterday's meeting between Trump and Putin. Whenever I say that name, I just think of French fries, gravy, and cheese. Okay, here's RT. Russia Today. Trump plans White House meeting with Zelensky and European leaders. That's actually a New York Times article being recycled onto RT. Hundreds killed in India and Pakistan. Nothing to do with the Putin-Trump meeting. Highly commendable. That's focusing on a response out of India. European NATO states to continue arming Ukraine, it says here. Trump pushes peace over ceasefire after Putin meeting. The Alaska Summit was a success. The challenge is to make it last. Was it a success? Zelensky will head to Washington, it says there. Lasting settlement essential in Ukraine conflict, and why Putin and Trump had to talk in person. Lavrov's USSR sweater, Russian media's makeshift camp, and wild animals on site, how Putin-Trump summit is shaping up. So this is now getting into some of the older stuff. Oh, yes, and then there was that comment from Putin to Trump saying next time in Moscow, and the MAGA-oriented media on the U.S. side is saying that the left is losing its mind over that. I don't really understand why one way or the other than, again, it just seems to be, I just think all the way along, Putin was sort of outclassing Trump in terms of understanding how to behave and what to do to gain the upper hand in the court of public opinion during yesterday's acts of diplomacy. Here's the story about next time in Moscow. Russian President Vladimir Putin made a rare public switch to English to invite U.S. President Donald Trump to Moscow for the next round of peace talks following their summit in Anchorage, Alaska on Friday. Trump said he could see the meeting taking place, though it would likely face political pushback. Speaking at the press conference, Trump called the meeting extremely productive and said, "We didn't get there, but we have a very good chance of getting there," implying no deal had been reached yet, which there was no deal. He said the talks marked significant progress and reaffirmed what he described as a strong relationship with Putin.
Again, Mr. President, I'd like to thank you very much, and we'll speak to you very soon and probably see you again very soon.
Oops. So, yeah. Some people are saying yesterday's thing was a nothing burger, and from the Western perspective, you can take that perspective. I don't think it was a nothing burger. I think it was a big win. It was a series of wins for Putin coming over here. Didn't have to do anything to get the meeting. Managed to keep Zelensky out of it. Just drags things out longer. Managed to at least gain more time before the imposition of secondary sanctions as threatened by Trump, if they even happen at all now. So he gets Trump to taco out again on that front. Got to tour Alaska to highlight ties between Russia and the United States historically and culturally and through religion, by then meeting with the head of the Orthodox Church at the gravesite for all of those fallen Soviet pilots, highlighting again linkages historically between the United States and Alaska, and the United States. Alaska being land that Putin wants to get back, and has been, as you saw from the billboard that we've been running here twice now over the past week, showed you images of the billboard where they're saying Alaska is ours, because of course they sold Alaska to the United States in 1867, same year as Confederation in Canada. So he's getting all those wins, not to mention all the body language stuff going on and all the way down the line, Putin gaining the upper hand, right? Even if you're looking at who walked into the room first, who sat down on the chairs first, all of these small things, and even the big Trumpian handshake that everybody focuses on, people are saying Putin won that. So all the way down the line, you're getting most of the analysis saying, and the experts saying, that Putin made Trump look weak. In fact, here, I'll show you this too. Here's Rick Wilson from the Lincoln Project. And just as an example, now not unexpected because he hates Trump, as we've shown you before, but this is a kind of a Republican, former Republican, or claims to be, who left basically the Republican Party because of Trump and MAGA. America humiliated. Trump's Alaska disaster was worse than you think, he says. I sat with this piece for a while, he says. I dashed out a big part of it last night in my head and knew where to take it, or so I thought. Then I realized my don't write angry rule is no longer in effect. So here it goes. He says, Donald J. Trump went to Alaska this week and America came home on its knees. The summit between Trump and Vladimir Putin was not a negotiation, not a peace process, not even a serious attempt at diplomacy. It was a reality TV set piece where the world's most servile, cheap crook slobbered over the boots of a KGB thug and called it greatness. The strong man from Moscow got everything he wanted, a photo op on American soil, global legitimacy restored, and a pliant orange supplicant eager to sell out Ukraine and humiliate the United States in front of the world. Indeed, I said that I commented on this with Mike too. He says, as Rick Wilson says here, it was a reality TV set piece. And I took note of that because if you go back and you watch, Trump just delivered one of his standard sort of, oh, woe is me, I'm such a victim, combined with some stories that he thinks are humorous, combined with just, a couple of insults here and there, portraying himself as a victim. And then he points out to the audience and in the front row, whoever the dignitaries were from the Russian delegation, he starts pointing at them saying that, oh, and I see some very famous faces there. I've seen you in the news, which is to say that they're basically, in his mind, sort of political media celebrities, which is true because everything he approaches is from the perspective of what kind of ratings can I get out of this? How much attention can I get out of this? Everything is a show with Donald Trump. And if you look at even the people within his administration, he has populated it with celebrities, whether online social media celebrities or actual television celebrities, a lot of them former Fox News hosts, whether it's Judge Jeanine or Pete Hegseth. You go down the line, you see all Dan Bongino, another influential social media live streamer. And he's giving these people prominent positions within his administration because they're talking heads. They're just pretty faces out there in front delivering the messaging to us, filling our heads full of whatever messaging they want to send to us. Because it's a show. Everything yesterday was a show. As Rick Wilson is pointing out here too, just in passing, but I highlighted it and I'm highlighting it again now because that's why everybody feels like they're watching a movie. Politics has become entertainment. They use that, they feed that, they know that they can use that to keep us engaged by turning the political game into a show. And I don't think it's a mistake. I don't think there's any coincidence there when you look at Trump's administration, why he's chosen who he's chosen. And even this thing yesterday, it wasn't so much about substance. It was about show. All the trappings were there. The red carpet was there, which some people are not happy about because they're saying you're rolling out a red carpet for a war criminal. I totally understand the perspective. From Trump's perspective, he wants to make a deal. So he's treating Putin with respect, giving him the royal treatment, the red carpet treatment, and did yesterday. And it's a show, baby. Speaking of shows, I am pivoting here a bit now on subject matter. If I can get this up. Here we go. It's absolutely a show. So interesting to see. First of all, Schwarzenegger. Arnold. This is what I'm talking about. If it ain't a show, then why do we have movie stars constantly making political statements? And who keeps popping up? Well, on the Democrat side, it's generally this guy, Arnold, the Terminator.
an autograph for a selfie or something like that.
And here's Arnold commenting on the Trump-Putin meeting.
President Trump, I just saw your press conference with President Putin, and it was embarrassing. I mean, you stood there like a little wet noodle, like a little fanboy. I mean, I was asking myself, when are you going to ask him for an autograph or for a selfie or something like that? I mean, you literally sold out at this press conference our intelligence community, our justice system, and worst of all, our country. You're the president of the United States. You shouldn't do that. I mean, what's the matter with you? I mean, whatever happened to the strong words or to the strength of Ronald Reagan when he stood there at the Berlin Wall and he said, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall? What happened to all that?
I don't like, honestly, dealing with the celebrity element in politics because, who cares? But people do care. The guy does have a massive following. He's a superstar and a politician. Don't forget, right? One-time governor, California. So, yeah, like it or not, it's woven into the politics of the United States heavily. Now, Tom Cruise, on the other hand, I have to say, I was surprised to learn this. The other day, we showed you Trump. Remember, he was at the Kennedy Center, and they were unveiling all of the pictures of the people who were receiving, I think, Lifetime Achievement Awards. Among them, who got the awards? There was Gloria Gaynor. Sylvester Stallone, the arch rival of Schwarzenegger, right? Kiss, the rock group Kiss, Knights in Satan's Service, being honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Kennedy Center. The awards hosted by the Family Values president, acknowledging or honoring the Knights in Satan's Service. You can't make it up. The irony is just off the charts. Okay, we don't want that one. We want, let me show you. Where'd you go there, Tommy? Okay, Tom Cruise. He apparently was offered, or they wanted to honor him with a Lifetime Achievement Award, but he turned it down. And I wasn't sure who Trump was talking about at the time, but now I know. Maybe you were already aware. I wasn't. I just found it today because I found this. Trump mentioned that some people didn't want to, that they declined the award and didn't want to be recognized. It looks like Tom Cruise was one of, maybe was the guy who turned it down. Here's a video about him talking about why. And I have to say, I respect this.
Mr. Trump said he was 98% involved in selecting me, and I appreciate the sentiment. But honestly, it's precisely because of his excessive support that I can't comfortably accept this award. Once he's involved, it's no longer just an art award. What was meant to be a celebration of the arts has turned into a political spectacle. I've spent my life making movies, and all I want is for the audience to enjoy it, for those veterans to see themselves reflected on the screen, and for it to have nothing to do with politics. As for those who say I'm disrespecting the award, please, the Kennedy Center stage is for art, not for political agenda. I never take any honor lightly, and I have great respect for those who have dedicated their lives to this craft. But I would rather be remembered as an actor than become a pawn in some political issue. The award is a good one, but the timing is off and the people involved aren't right. Rather than having people analyze which side I'm on every day, I'd rather they focus on whether I can deliver the performance.
Yes, although art, politics, religion, culture, it all intertwines. Movies always have, it doesn't matter what you make the movie about, or even if you try not to politicize it, there is politics in everything, but I do respect him trying to distance himself from it. Now, it may be just simply that he doesn't agree with Trump. He doesn't like Trump. Maybe he's just opposed to Trump or MAGA or the ideology or whatever it is. And so rather than take a hard line political stance, which could cost him in his career, make him less marketable, he's trying to take a neutral stance and distance himself from the entire issue of whether you should accept or not accept. But the thing that was going through my head during the ceremony, with all the sheets coming off and the pictures being unveiled for those awards, is if you go down the line and you look at who's being honored, most of them, if not all, but most of them for sure, aligned with Trump. Sylvester Stallone, definitely. Kiss, they've been playing at Trump's political rallies, right? So these, I was surprised. I'm almost surprised the Village people didn't get it, and that's why I was laughing too the other night. I was saying I'm having a little bit of trouble, connecting Trump and culture together. Now let's just pivot again a little bit. We'll get out of this Trumpian world for a moment. Oh, I can't, because even this story has a Trump element to it. This is the letter that I was talking about, and response letters to the letter that I've been talking about, coming from a U.S. politician trying to make it easier to help pave the way for the western provinces of Canada to become part of the United States as the 51st state. So this is from Maine Senator Joe Martin. He sent a letter to several Canadian officials. It's titled "A Vision for Welcoming Western Canada in the United States." If the people of British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba are ready to stand beside us, not as citizens, then let us raise the flag, sign the compacts, and welcome them into a family worth defending, he says. Now, you think back. Remember when Tucker Carlson was joking about coming to Canada to liberate us? What did I say? I think I was almost all alone when I said, I don't think he's joking. I think he's very serious, and I stand by that, and it's becoming painfully more clear every day that continues to be the case. A vision for welcoming Western Canada into the United States. The strength of the United States lies in its fidelity to the Constitution, its emphasis on national sovereignty and its roots in Western civilization, Christianity, and personal responsibility. These principles are not negotiable, and they must form the foundation of any expansion of the Union. If the Canadian provinces of British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba were to seek admission into the United States, it must be as full American states, not provinces with conditions or dual allegiance. They would come into the fold by the consent of their people and the invitation of a constitutional guided republic. There would be no hybrid governance, no special cultural carve-outs, and certainly no Canadian political baggage. The path forward would not be about convenience or economic expansion alone, but about the reaffirmation of liberty, state sovereignty, and national identity. A union of this kind would not dilute the American experiment. It would strengthen it, fortify it, and renew it with citizens who blah, 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 blah. You can go read it if you want. It's on the main wire on X. And it's being reposted by quite a number of people here. Some people not too happy about it. What's this one say? Madam Duran, 51st state rhetoric isn't limited to Trump. Read the open letter from State Senator Joseph Martin of Maine and tell me if that isn't the American dream of domination making itself known. The Canadian boycott will continue. Yes. This has been in the works for a long time, folks. This is not new. This is a coordinated plan. It's been years and years and years, not just in the making, but in the execution. We are in the execution phase now. They're much further along than most people realize. This is a clear existential threat to the country. Some people will applaud it, others not so happy. Dionandan, I'm not sure who this is, this account, or even how to pronounce the name. Dear Pete Hoekstra, U.S. Ambassador to Canada, I'm writing to you today to tell you to F off for threatening our country with annexation, levying destructive tariffs, flooding us with illegal guns, and not respecting the very trade agreements that you originally imposed on us. See? Yep. So this is creating deep divisions even within our own country. Brennan Day posts here, when a senator from Maine sends you an unsolicited email suggesting your province join the United States, you respond politely, firmly, and unapologetically Canadian. Here's my open letter to Maine Senator Joseph E. Martin on what it means to be Canadian and why we're different. Full text below. And he writes, your recent unsolicited proposal, a vision for welcoming Western Canada into the United States, reads like a recruitment brochure for a political ideology, not a sincere offer to neighbors. Sending it to provincially elected officials of a sovereign nation makes me think you are operating well outside of your lane, sir. So allow me to operate well outside of mine. While I appreciate the sentiment, I feel compelled as a Canadian and as an elected member of the Legislative Assembly of British Columbia to respond clearly and unapologetically on behalf of my constituents. We're Canadian, proud of it, not confused, not for sale, and not going anywhere. You see, we don't measure freedom by the number of firearms owned, but we do own a few, or how loud we can shout without consequence. We measure it by how we care for one another, how we build strong public institutions that ensure our kids are educated, our seniors are looked after, and no one goes bankrupt because they broke a leg or needed chemotherapy. Is our system straining currently? Absolutely. But even under strain, our healthcare outcomes are better and our costs lower for the majority of our citizens. Do we have work to do? Definitely. But we'll be looking east, not south, for those solutions. We are not Americans with a maple leaf sticker. We are a distinct nation forged through compromise, as I've highlighted, built on cooperation, as I've highlighted, and defined not by revolution, but by evolution, as I've highlighted. I believe I'd agree with that. We believe in free enterprise, but not in leaving people behind. I believe in that. We believe in individual rights, yes, but not at the expense of collective responsibility. There has to be balance, true. We honor our veterans, support our neighbors, and yes, we still say sorry, true, even when it isn't our fault. That's not weakness, that's courtesy, it's Canadian. You write about the supremacy of the U.S. Constitution, and I won't diminish that remarkable document. It has guided countless nations toward democracy. But when you dismiss our own as Canadian political baggage, let's be crystal clear. What you call baggage, we call the backbone of a functioning democracy. It's our Charter of Rights and Freedoms, our parliamentary system, our bilingualism, our multiculturalism, our belief that diversity makes us stronger, not something to be flattened into uniformity. Is it always simple? No. Is it something messy? Absolutely. But is it worth defending? Every damn time. It makes Canada Canadian. Yes, Canada has problems, but we don't fix them by surrendering our identity, as you suggest. We fix them by doing what Canadians have always done, rolling up our sleeves, listening to each other, and finding common ground. We may move slowly, but we move together. I have worked with many Americans, spent countless days in industrial and energy facilities across your great nation, and I hold deep respect for your people and your country. But this letter, framed as an invitation, lands more as a manifesto of arrogance. The idea that Western Canada must abandon Canadian legal codes, discard Canadian political loyalty, and salute your flag, not ours, is not unity, it's erasure. You say you want us free, armed, self-governing, and accountable. We already are. We just don't define those words through the same lens. Freedom means your health card works better than your credit card. Armed means not only our amazing Canadian Armed Forces and responsible gun ownership, but a population educated and armed to read between the lines and think critically about the future. Accountability means a leader who answers to Parliament, not the cable news pundits. Self-government means working with Indigenous peoples, not stepping over them. It's true, we have always done that in a different way than the U.S. Our vision may overlap with yours in parts, but it differs where it matters most. We believe a rising tide should raise all ships, not just mega yachts. That capitalism works best when it remembers who it's working for. That the strength of a nation isn't measured by the number of military bases, but by how it treats its most vulnerable. We are proud of our roots, but we're not stuck in them. We believe in our potential, but we don't need to become something else to realize it. We already have all we need to succeed. And while we remain committed to a strong, respectful relationship with our American neighbors, let there be no confusion. This country isn't for sale, and it's not up for adoption. Senator Martin, I respect the boldness it takes to write an unsolicited pitch to dismantle a nation to Canadian provincial legislators, but let me be equally bold in return. Your letter is a perfect example of what many Canadians find so deeply troubling about the American worldview, assuming that what works for you must be the solution for everyone else. We know who we are. We know what we have. We see the chaos, division, and deep inequalities that plague your system, and we've chosen a different path, not because we're blind to our flaws, but because we believe in fixing them our way. So while I appreciate the offer, we'll pass, sir, proudly, firmly, and with both feet planted in Canadian soil for now and ever. If you manage to make it to Vancouver Island, please give me a call, and I would happily show you exactly what we have, why we have it, and why we will never give it up. All the best in the hard work you have ahead of yourselves down there, and I'm sorry for the strong language. Brennan Day, MLA. And he's a conservative. Proudly Canadian. And he gives the email address for joseph.martin@legislature.maine.gov. And hashtags that are pro-Canadian. So you too can write the senator in Maine and let the politician down there know what you think, one way or another. Opinions vary these days. The divisions deepen. The cracks continue to form in what used to be a more unified country here. Scary times. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We're going to open up that phone line so we can get John out of Alberta, I guess, to call in and talk about what's going on over there in Calgary, the western side of Canuckistan.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
Okay. Let me get this phone line set up here. Take another quick break. I'm still not quite there. We'll get that number up on the screen so John can call in and we'll find out what's going on out there. He went to a demonstration of some kind today. We'll talk about that on the other side. Hang on.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, John, if you're out there listening, we did speak earlier, and he is there. He's got the number already. He must have saved it from the last time. Okay, beautiful. Hello, John Rimby from out in Alberta. How are you tonight, sir?
Hey, guys. How are you guys doing tonight? Rimby John, Alberta side.
Well, I'm doing okay, and I'm looking in the chat. It looks like people here are in a reasonably good, even-keeled mood. And how is the weather out there for starters tonight, John? Give us your report.
It's been not too bad, kind of mid-20s, 28, a little bit of rain, cooled off. We haven't had much of a summer here, guys, though. It's been cool and wet. Yeah, so.
Well, it's been one heck of a summer here for the past couple of weeks. It's been hot like every day for at least the last 2.5 weeks. Today,
Well,
again,
you know, guys,
I like that.
Well, we had a great stampede here, but fun stuff going on in the Calgary today. There's a huge Caribbean festival here all weekend. They did a huge parade this morning down on Stephen Avenue Mall. And for people that don't know that, it's similar, Rick, to St. Catharines Mall in Montreal. Big, wide open street, no cars, lots of people.
Hang on a second here. I got to get this down off the screen. This is turning into a little bit of a mess here, John, as I'm trying to get stuff up on the screen for people. That's okay. Let me bring that there. Okay, so that's good. Sorry, go ahead. I am still listening. I'm trying to do 3 things at once here.
Yeah, no, we got this huge Caribbean African community here, which I didn't really know, and a huge parade, police escort, and lots of festive music. They left Calgary City Hall and headed, I think, to Milwauda Stadium, kind of the other side of downtown. That was this morning. And there's also a big country fest cowboy music thing going on at Fort Calgary all weekend long.
And so to be clear, your Calgary Stampede, that's long gone now. That's not going on anymore. That's over with, right?
First week in July. So.
Yeah. So that was that was weeks ago. And now you just have all these other summer events going on. So Calgary's still a happening place is what you're telling me.
Big time.
Yeah. So Caribbean Festival. What was the other one? A cowboy thing?
Yeah, country music, cowboy fair festival all weekend at Fort Calgary, the famous Fort Calgary. So, and then today, if you put the pictures up, I just stumbled upon mid-afternoon a sort of a Muslim, I don't know if it was a protest or just promoting their religion, but police escort. I didn't get pictures of that, but police motorbike and a car up front and back and officers around in a very interesting, never seen anything like that before, Rick.
No, I'm surprised actually, because I after you sent them to me, they came in just before we went to air. So I started to dig a little bit to try and figure out what it was. But before we get into that, they've done this before. And they're calling it, it's supposed to be like I don't think it was a protest, John. I think it was like a peace march is the way it's described. And I can show you something from last year. But anyway, go ahead. So tell me, what were they doing on the street? Just describe.
Well, I kind of saw these police cars with lights going on. And of course, Stephen Avenue Mall is pretty heavily policed with our famous Calgary City Police in their cowboy hats, for the summer. And our famous Calgary City Police horses are down here too, the horse patrol. And saw these lights and siren and stuff, and kind of, I didn't know if it was a Palestinian protest or what, and then kind of got a little bit closer, and it was, you can see maybe if you put some of the photos up,
yeah, they're up.
Muslim.
I can see them, yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't really come off as kind of a quasi-protest or them promoting their religion within Alberta and within Canada is what I kind of walked away.
So what I can tell you it is, because I was able to, and here, maybe I can show you on this. it is Calgary's Muslim community, and it's a peace parade, and they have done this before. The objective here, and I would encourage you, the next time you see them, go over and talk to them. That's actually
okay
there because they want to talk to people, and that's why they're marching through the street. So
they did technically, Rick, actually come up to me, and I gotta say, I am a Christian, a Lutheran. They did come up to me and approach me in a very, very friendly way with their Bible and pamphlets and stuff, and they were very, very friendly, extremely peaceful, and they had their loudspeakers going and whatever, and I would say pretty respectful.
So here's
I was
Calgary.
a little shocked to see that in Cowtown, though, Rick. Cowtown's still pretty rough with oil men and cowboys, and I was a little surprised to see that in Cowtown.
So here's the Calgary Herald, and what I did is when you sent me those photos, I looked at their sign that they were carrying, their banner, and I tried to figure out who they were. Then I started to search online. It only took me a few minutes, and I was able to zero in on this. So I'm kind of sorry that you weren't able to have more contact with them as they were marching. It would have been nice to maybe speak to someone to find out more about them. But I was able to find this, and it's unfortunate that they're having this outreach to the community that way and still not actually connecting with you, even as you stand there and look and talk, watch them. So you don't really understand what's going on. You just see what looks like a protest. But it says here, this is from a year ago when they did it, and they're doing the same thing. You can see here, this picture, it's the same sign. So they've rolled out the same banner again this year to do this same thing again. And it says, we believe Canadian Muslims can be the best Canadians and the best Muslims at the same time. There is no conflict. So that saying in itself may be confusing. I'm not sure exactly what that means. I went searching, and that led me to this article. It says members of Calgary's Muslim community marched on Saturday, highlighting the group's role in Canadian history and sharing stories. Around 100 carried signs and banners to beat the drums and hum of vocals along 8th Avenue. Was that where they did it this year? 8th Avenue?
Well, yeah, it's Stephen Avenue Mall. For argument's sake, it's 8th Avenue. And talking to some other people down there, I think they come every Saturday, Rick.
Oh, do
it's
they?
Kind of
okay,
a
maybe they do
thing.
it I wouldn't be surprised if they do it regularly. So this is Attar Mahmood, Vice President of the Islamic Supreme Council of Canada, says the Peace Parade, that's what it's called, is about providing an opportunity for those who aren't Muslim to ask questions and learn about Islam. That's why I say it's unfortunate you didn't speak to them, but next time, go right on up and talk to them, because that's what they say they're there for.
Maverick News people, I'm the boots on the ground, room to John, and I'll definitely hit them up again, because they were very approachable, very, very friendly. They did come up to me, and I'm just surprised to see something like that in Cowtown.
Yeah, because people see stuff like this, and if you do not know what's going on, I think a lot of people, out of ignorance comes fear.
Yeah.
Right. And we don't know what that's about. So to people watching, that looks just the same as a Palestinian protest, or whatever. People just, I totally.
They didn't have, there were no Palestinian flags or anything even remotely like that. And you can see that in the pictures.
And I don't know what it's about. I'm finding out by looking at this old thing, and you don't know what it's about because you didn't get to talk to anybody, but we're learning, and that's what part of this is about, right?
Rickster, to be honest with you, I don't even think the Calgary City Police doing their police escort even knew what it was about either.
Oh, they know. They always know. They know before they become involved and provide an escort, and they would have had a permit, and they would have gone to police
absolutely,
to get the escort so that everyone is kept safe, which is the objective there. It says here, quote, even if we teach one person, I think that the message goes a long way. So that's exactly what we are doing today, said Mahmood, who's also president of Muslims Against Terrorism. And then they were giving out free copies of the Quran, translated to English. Were they doing that today?
Probably. Yeah, they were doing that today, Rick. I was offered that with some pamphlets. Yeah,
which
and
as a Christian, you don't really want it, right? But
I do have to say, I didn't know much about it. I thought it was a ran down the street towards it because I thought maybe it was a Palestinian thing that maybe Dragon had experienced a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, it was. They were very approachable and professional, but they were handing out their Quran or whatever and info.
So you're getting the gist here. So he says, we want to give a message. Islam is a peaceful culture. We are doing whatever we can to teach people. The ISCC has 42 mosques across Canada, 5 of which are in Calgary. And it says here as well, I found out.
Lots in Edmonton.
Yeah, so you have a large and growing Muslim community. The first mosque to be built in Canada was in Edmonton in 1938.
Wow. Didn't know that.
Yep. So now you do. So this has been going on a long time in Kazakhstan. Yeah, I know that out there you do have a large Muslim community, but that's the thing. You can't judge a book by its cover. And there are lots of different flavors of religions and oops, sorry, I took you down off the screen. Lots of different groups and factions, and there's some groups you have problems with and other ones you don't, and some people are friendly and some people aren't. That's why you have to learn and judge people as individuals. I think that's
Rick, here's the bottom line. Don't judge a book by its cover. And I've learned a lot today by experiencing this thing and sending you the photos. I didn't know. I was ignorant to this.
And so was I. I don't know who these guys are, but from those images, I looked at the banner and I saw, and I mean, all this is on the fly pretty much because we were getting this set up at probably 20 minutes before we went live. Yeah. So I found the website. See if I can find it here. I brought it up. I have so many things up. It's hard to. There it is there. So I don't know. I thought maybe another night, maybe we'll phone them up and see if they have somebody who wants to come out and talk to us. Rick, so I'm going to show you the website. Yeah.
I got to tell you, God's working in Rimby John's life today, because before this Muslim, and it wasn't a protest, that parade, I call it a parade I ran into, the Mormon boys nailed me. They were everywhere.
Yeah.
So I got double nailed. The Mormon boys nailed me. Elders, whatever. And yeah. So I got,
everybody's selling something, man.
No, God is working in Rimby John's life today. It's all good news.
Well, you're not alone, because I was up working here till about 4:30 in the morning. So I slept a little bit later in the morning, and around 9:30, the doorbell rang, and it was my Jehovah's Witness friends who come and see me about once a week. And, they're trying to sell me their brand as well, right? They want me to join.
God's working in Rickster's life too.
But I have to tell you, I know people are like, I'm not letting them in my house. They'll never leave. I'm not. It's a joke, right? Because they do go door to door. But
that's called good advice, Rick, not a joke.
Yeah, I know. But the thing is, I actually enjoy my conversations with them, because we get into some very deep philosophical, discussions about religion, the meaning of life, politics. I think I end up talking far more than I should.
Very intelligent people, Rick.
I flip it around on them, though. You see, they come and try and sell me their brand of whatever it is, the Jehovah's Witness religion, and I end up trying to convince them of other things. I change the topic and start talking about other political things, but they're always great conversations. And it's usually two guys that show up. One guy every time. He's sort of the leader, And I ran into them at McDonald's when I was going down there to meet a friend about a month ago, and they showed up, happened to drive up into the parking lot. I was like, hey, so they've become my friends, you know. I'm not in their church. I'm sure that they would love me to join, but I'm not. I don't think I'm into it. But I enjoy the company, even when they wake me up after I've been up.
But now, Rick, as a final note, if you can put that one of those photos back up of the.
Oh, I just before we do, I do have the website up, and because you know the thing about sometimes people handing pamphlets out on the street is sometimes they lie. To get people recruited, right?
Well, no, they
join
had these big golden. They had these big golden Bibles, black and gold, in the Quran, I guess.
Yeah.
And you know.
So I learned that a long time ago as a very young reporter, as a youngster. Sometimes the people out there recruiting people lie, or they don't tell you the whole truth in the pamphlets they hand you. So I thought I'm going to go to the website and just check it out, see what their website's really all about. Who are these people really? So here it is. And let's just see, do they have an about page? Here's about us, our team, our gallery, forums. Hope you can still see that. There's board member, a place to pray and a community centered to learn. Islamic philosophy, Quran, help the poor, spirituality, find your inner Muslim community, Islamic knowledge. So you guys can go to this website and check it out if you want to, or not. It's whatever you want to do. I'm not here to promote anybody's thing. John just ran into this on the street. This is amcia.org, AMCIA, which is the Assembly what does it say? Madina Calgary Islamic. I don't know where it starts. Anyway, you get it. amcia.org. So they're just out there, I guess, promoting peace. They want to live in harmony, I guess, is what the idea is. And I do get worried a little bit when I see the word best inserted into anybody's religious statements, especially on banners and things. We're the best.
Well,
oh my God, don't say that, because people will take offense.
We're all about peace, Rickster, on Maverick News Worldwide. We're always about peace around the world, whether it's Gaza, Israel, or Russia, Ukraine.
Yeah, I just get worried when I see any religion, anybody say my religion is the best. Okay.
Now, Rick, humor me. On a fun note, can you put one of those pictures back up I gave you, Dave?
Okay.
And in the one famous picture, it says in the very back, you might zoom in on it, it says the Bank of Nova Scotia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the background. 1867, Bank of Nova Scotia. I am doing a special report, Rickster and Mavericks, I am actually sitting in the bank right now of Nova Scotia. And this was a famous nightclub in the 1980s and 90s called The Bank. It's now the Bank and Barron. And this was the Studio 54 of Calgary in the mid 80s and early 90s.
So the bank was a nightclub?
Oh, a private nightclub, a VIP. I had the VIP card. Register, they had my MasterCard on speed dial. Yes, I never waited in line in the 80s and 90s.
Oh, yeah?
This was a fun place to be. Yeah. So, yeah, it was an interesting day today out of Calgary, sir.
Well, if they had your credit card on speed dial then, that would explain the poverty now.
The lineup used to stretch down the street, but I never waited in a lineup. This was pretty well drunk every Friday, Saturday night in the 80s and 90s. This was the Studio 54. Yeah, to be. Yeah. Special reporting for all our Maverick viewers. Yeah. From Calgary. Yeah.
Okay.
Cowtown.
All right, John. Well, thanks for bringing us all this stuff tonight. Is there
Oh.
anything else you think we need to know before we sign off?
Well, I don't know if I could dare tell you a separatist joke, but no, we'll leave it alone. No, it was really good. No,
Yeah, that
no,
you'd probably make me
no,
happy
it's
if you
just-
did. Thank you.
Well, it's a good one. I told you to before. But anyways, no, I got to say as a final thought, it's been a very interesting day in Cowtown. I've learned something new about this Muslim thing. You have. I didn't know. I was very, very naive about it. And I think I'll maybe try and make a contact with them the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, there's a phone number
we've
right
seen-
on their website, and I was thinking, let's just phone them up and see if somebody there.
They're
wants to talk to
approachable.
us. Yeah,
Very,
why
very
don't-
friendly people.
Why don't I leave that with you, since that is your town, and
Okay.
maybe you can call them, even if we set up like a phone interview, if you want to do that, to
Sure,
find out more
yeah.
about what this is all about. Given that, I guess this is the thing. They want to tell people what it is, whatever they want to tell people. They just marched past you. You took pictures. We're talking about them on the program, but for whatever reason, you still didn't engage with them enough to really understand what the heck it is that their message is. So
No, and I got to tell you, Rick,
Yeah.
I was a little taken off guard because when I went down the street towards them, I was really fully prepared to run into Palestinian flags, and that didn't happen.
Yeah, it's not.
And,
That's not them.
Yeah,
That's different. Totally different group of people doing a totally different thing. And I guess that's the problem, right? People. That's why they call it prejudice, prejudging. So, people say, well, these are newcomers. Problem, maybe not. They're first
1938.
1938.
Wow.
Right. So that's not fair, folks. They've
Well,
been there.
you know-
A lot of these people have been in the community for a long time, longer than some other people.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, Rick, we're all misfit toys at Costco and Walmart. And you know what? At Holt Renfrew. And you know what? Never, ever judge a book by the cover, because you can be here's one for you, Rickster. You may be making a false axiomatic assumption, and something you believe to be true on your assumption is the opposite. So never judge a book by the cover. And we always have to promote peace and goodwill around the world, which is Maverick News Family Worldwide is always about, my friends. World peace.
That
Pray for
is right.
peace.
And we are about peace here. At least I am. I hope all you guys are as well. And the best way, or I think maybe one of the most effective ways to keep things peaceful is to keep the lines of communication open, so that we don't misunderstand, so that we understand better. And through that, we find, a path forward of tolerance and acceptance and forgiveness and a way to live together. Because whether people like it or not, that's what we have to do. So there it is. And John, thank you so much for bringing us this tonight.
Oh, hey, well, Rickster, thanks. This was all on the fly, and I called you, 20 minutes to the show and just stumbled on this. And thank you for just kind of throwing it up real quick. We always are growing and learning, and that's a good thing, to grow and learn and be more knowledgeable and have more temperament and empathy for people that maybe we, again, don't judge a book by the cover.
That's
It
right.
just might be a little wrong.
Like I said today, I said, I don't know if I want to run this. It's like people out in the streets beating pots and pans again. Like there's a protest every 5 minutes. Why is it news? I guess I don't know if this is news, but I guess it's become news. We chose to make it news tonight just because you took the pictures. I don't, but this is the thing. It's supposed to be a free society. They can march, and I'm all for peace. So if that's what this is, I'm like, cool with that. And you don't have to join their religion. You're free not to. You can do your own thing. John, you're not going to join their mosque. You're Christian, but nothing bad happened.
Oh.
It's just.
Oh, but Rick, the Mormon boys were working on me before the Muslims.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if
They
it's not them, it's
summoned me up,
somebody
Rick.
else. And the Jehovah's Witness guys, they're going to be back next Saturday. So I have that to look forward to.
But you know, Rick, I gotta say, God bless those Mormon boys. We're everywhere today. We went down with my friend on the violin into Chinatown, had a big festival too, and the Mormon boys were down there. They were everywhere. God's just been everywhere today, Rickster. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
Help me out here, John. Help me pick a song to close things off here tonight.
Oh, come on, Rick. That's a slam dunk, man. It's there's only one song choice. You produced it. It's the Orange Orangutan, Rickster.
All right, John, you've got it.
Putin.
You've got it. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go.
Don't hate me. Don't hate me.
Maverick and the News Brothers, Orange Orangutan. And John, we will be back here tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, Ontario time, on the
flip side. Pray for peace, Maverick News family.
Here we go.
Monkey see, monkey do. Vladimir Putin's making a fool out of you. Once a deal maker, now just a shouter. Used to shake hands, now it's all about power. You turn your back on your friends and your allies too. You betrayed the spirit of the red, white, and blue. Oh, orange orangutan man, swinging through the world with a heavy hand. Tearing up treaties, slapping on tariffs, throwing tantrums like a billionaire sheriff. Tell it down, don't stop it, man, you beast, you critter. Orange orangutan man. Donald Trump 1.0 had a plan. Now Donald J. Trump 2.0's a wrecking man. Used to make deals, now you just sneer. Ruling through fear, grinning ear to ear. Canada's not for sale, Greenland ain't yours. Gaza's not a playground, quit making wars. Bluffing and puffing with a wig on tight. Acting like a boss, but you lost the fight. The art of the deal, man, that ship sunk. Now it's all about rage and a nuclear funk. Orange orangutan man, swinging through the world with a heavy hand. Tearing up treaties, slapping on tariffs, throwing tantrums like a billionaire sheriff. Dial it down, don't stop it, man, you beast, you critter. Orange orangutan man. You're fired. No, you're just bananas.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.